All right, this is our second video in the Chapter 2 Excel homework series, and in this problem, we've got some following information from materials requisitions and time tickets for job 9-1005, so just some identifying number. This is Jackson's jet skis. Management estimated that overhead costs would equal 110% of direct labor costs for each job. So that's that predetermined overhead rate that we've been talking about. And in this problem, we have that number there, and it's going to be basically taking anything that's direct labor cost and multiplying it by 110%. As a decimal, that would be multiplying it by 1.1, essentially. Okay, so we need to complete the steps below and determine our total cost for job 91005. Okay, so let's look first at our material requisitions. And what we can see here, as far as direct cost goes, we have $2,500 that were brought into this job on July 1st, it looks like. And then we have $2,000 more direct materials on July 5th. So the total cost of direct materials that this job used was $4,500. And then if we look at direct labor costs from time tickets, our payroll system or time tracking system, 3 different times that this job was worked on and different cost amounts associated with those 3 dates. And so the total cost there is $2,700 related to direct labor. Okay, so that's all informational. And then step 1, we want to complete the below predetermined overhead analysis to determine the amount of overhead cost to apply to our job. And here, okay, so predetermined overhead rate, let's just put that in as 1.1 or 1.10. That is equivalent as a decimal to 110%. And then we've got total direct labor costs of 2,700, so we'll just link up to that, hit enter. So there we go. So that's the amount here that it tells us 110% of direct labor costs for each job. And you know what? I'm going to make this a decimal. When I do have mixed things like this is dollars, this is a percentage. So I kind of like to separate those out so that you're not getting confused and thinking 1.1 is dollars as well. So 110%. And then we get, it works the same as in a formula, whether it's a decimal or percent. So all we need to do then is multiply. So B17, so 110% times $2,700. And so basically what we're saying is we estimated that for every dollar of direct labor cost, we're going to apply or allocate $1.10 of overhead cost, right? And since this job actually took $2,700 of direct labor costs, we're going to apply 1.1 times 2,700, 110% times 2,700, which is 2,970. Again, that's an estimate. That's our allocated estimated amount. And so we're going to true that up at the end of the period. We'll look at we'll look at doing that in different problems. But here we just want to calculate that amount. And then that's our manufacturing overhead. Then we can just come back up here to our direct materials of 4,500, and then direct labor cost of 2,700. And basically this is our job cost card. And then let's do an auto sum to add those all together. And so the total cost that we have allocated to this job now is $10,170. And so if this job was finished, that would be our final finished goods amount. And when we sell it, that would be our cost of goods sold amount. And then we could use this amount here to basically determine the price, possibly if we're going to charge some margin, like 10% above this or something, or we might already have a set price that we've agreed with the customer, and hopefully it's above that amount, and it's above that amount by an accurate, the amount that we would like to see as a profit. So when we're estimating amounts to tell a customer in advance, this is kind of what we're shooting for, to understand what it costs us to make this product. All right, well, hopefully that is helpful, and we'll do some more work with predetermined overhead rate again and again throughout this whole series of problems that we do, different homework exercises, in-class exercises, so on and so forth. So this is a good little introduction to that. All right, well, thanks everybody. I'll see you in the next video.